Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the MLG Spring Arena number 2, Zerg Edition.
Zerg Edition, indeed. Indeed. I'm good. How are you?
I'm not too bad, man. I'm looking forward to some ZVZ. It's not the matchup that we would have perhaps expected for the rest of the tournament, certainly, but it's not the matchup that I hate watching either. I think ZVZ has evolved to be quite an entertaining, micro-intensive battle, and far less random than people think, and we're going to see it played at some of the highest possible level today.
Absolutely. 3 players remaining now, 3 Zerg players. Stephano, Violet still in the winner bracket, which we're about to go into very shortly, and down below we will have Symbol, but there we do have the bracket, and how these players got here. More importantly, if we see Violet's run going through fantastic plays, Grubby, Leenock a Zerg versus Zerg there, and then he destroyed Pult in an incredible series to land himself in the winner bracket, and then also Stephano having an incredible run, starting off with that Zerg versus Rhett, then versus MC and Hart to land himself here again in the winner bracket finals. Neither of these guys lost a game yet. Looking in fantastic shape at this tournament.
Without question. It's great to see Stephano do well at an MLG and actually get to this stage, and nobody can argue that he had an easy time of it either. His run-through here was certainly not lucky. He faced champions of every single race and overcame each and every one of them to get to this stage. But even though he claims ZVZ is his weakest matchup, statistically, he has 67% win rate. Violet slightly less than that, although I'm not sure we should read too much into the difference between those statistics with ZVZ.
Yeah, absolutely, especially because that sample has been taken for a very, it's a long time ago since that sample actually started. So even though Stephano's at 67%, recently he has dropped games, unlike his other matchups, like especially in the European scene too. He dominates everything in the European scene, but he has 1 or 2 losses here and there. Just recently lost versus Team Liquid Xenio in the IPL League 2. So Stephano a little bit shaky, even coming into this tournament saying, well, I'm actually in great shape, but I'm a little bit shaky in my Zerg versus Zerg.
Yeah, his game sense has always been his biggest strength. He seems to know everything,
yeah.
But in ZVZ, we see he doesn't so much play with his blinders on, but he is not omnipotent.
Yeah, and Violet is just amazing. I mean, he's just an all-round fantastic player who's been getting better and better over time, and it is going to be Millennium versus Empire, 2 European teams here as well, remember.
Yeah, interesting, isn't it, to see the Korean player on Empire doing so well, in fact. But here we go, folks. We are now in the game and ready to get started. And it's my pleasure to bring you Millennium Stephano. He is in the red trunks, playing Zerg to the southeast of this particular map, which is, of course, the Entombed Valley, versus his opponent. In the blue trunks, it is the one and only Empire Violet to the northwest.
And both of these guys, champions in their own rights, of course. Violet winning the Sao Paulo Intel Extreme Masters, Stephano, IPL, ESWC champion. This guy is he's just on fire, regarded as the best foreigner, but is up against Violet, a very difficult opponent, especially because his runs within MLG have just been getting stronger. With a 32nd place finish in Providence, you can look at that and say, well, that's okay. But then in 2012, a 5th to 6th place finish in the first Winter Arena, and then a 7th to 8th finish in the Winter Championship. And that's a good record there for Violet.
Without question. Whereas Stephano has been struggling.
Yeah.
This is his one tournament that seems to be his anathema, at least until today.
Yeah.
He's not been able to make a big impact. And when he first arrived at his first MLG, Too Much Hype, he fell down very rapidly, which was surprising considering his dominance of... It was not even just a case of European events. He dominated other US tournaments as well.
And we do have Spawning Pool coming down first for Stephano here. Interested if he's going to take gas or not. It looks like not. He will be looking to an expansion first. So we already see the difference between these two plays. With Violet going hatchery first, he will have a slight economic lead in this game. We'll have a slightly faster set of queens and extra set of lava injects going down here. But Stephano's going to have his lings out faster. And they can always turn the table here very easily and say, well, if I get my lings in and pick off a drone here or there, then I'm actually can turn this around. But we do have Extractor going down first for Violet, and then Spawning Pool. So far, Stephano's said to everybody here that he's actually going to play Gasless for a lot longer here than Violet. So Violet's going to have map presence despite having that later spawning pool.
Indeed, but the question is, how long will he actually have the map presence for, more to the point, and will it really make that much of a difference? The start of a Zerg versus Zerg is where I think it kind of gets its coin flippy reputation from, because you have to pick essentially one of 3 standard builds in the current metagame to go with, and you're going to have to do so without knowledge of your opponent. So either you hatch first, either you pool on 14, or you go for something like, say, 10 pool and early speed. But you've got to do that without knowledge. And then the weird thing about Zerg versus Zerg is that while the start is blind, then for the next 5 to even 10 minutes, you have ridiculous map awareness thanks to Overlords.
And, of course, Zerg speed as well, helping out to run by. But right now is that Violet's taken a greedy build, and it's going to pay off here. I mean, he's built a Spine Crawler just in case anyway. He's pulling a drone back and doesn't really want to lose it. But right now, he's about to have Zerglings pop. So there's a defender's advantage, of course, Stephano coming across the entire of the map. But Violet's going to push this back without a problem and still has a hatchery down. He's still in gas too and has thrown down a Baneling nest here. So he's about to use that speed advantage he has upon Stephano and will use his early lava inject, the extra lava set advantage over Stephano too. And things could get messy for Stephano, who's naturally going to be on the back foot.
They could. It depends if Violet can hit any kind of... Ooh, nicely done there. It depends whether Violet can hit any nice kind of timing, because then you got the defender's advantage shifting back to Stephano. He gets a later Baneling nest, but is there an opportunity where Violet can actually do any damage before the defensive Banelings come into play? And
Stephano, unfortunately, couldn't quite get into the base there and see the Baneling nest. He actually doesn't know what the hell's going on here, but likewise, neither does Violet. So Stephano has got Lings of his own with a Baneling nest coming too, and he is in a defensive stance. You know, he didn't get gas early. He's not going to move across the map, and speed has now finished for Violet. But Violet's actually more defensive Banelings here and is droning behind. So despite having map control, he's not going to use it here. He's not going to take full advantage of that. And he's sending 2 Lings out now to try and get information on Stephano. Does he have a Baneling nest down? Does he have defensive Banelings? Is there a Spine Crawler? All questions Violet's thinking about.
Well, he's about to find out, because that's the wonderful thing about speed. He sees 4 defensive Banelings morphing in. Interesting decision to go into the corner there, but that's going to be easily caught out. Stephano's not going to fall for a little trick like that, forcing the Baneling cancellation. Eliminating that gets the scout on the Baneling nest, doesn't get fully into the base.
And all 4 gases have been taken by Violet and Lei. He's going straight up to the Spire here. Very interesting decision. I mean, Mulists are coming back into fashion. And Stephano likewise throwing down his lead a little bit later here, but he's got a Roach Warren and Evolution Chamber. So it's going to be the classic Mutalisk versus Roach Infester. Stephano's actually got a very strong anti-Mutalisk style, likes to build additional queens. Stephano trying to get scanning information here with these Lings. Sees 2 Spine Crawlers, sees the double gases taken on the natural 2 here, and can already start to, you know, piece this together and be like, well, he hasn't got any roaches out now. I guess he could still be hiding them, but this does look like my opponent is rushing that layer out.
It does, doesn't it? So the question is, how does he then react to that? We see the +1 missile attack coming in here from Stephano, and a fairly passive game thus far. A little bit of scouting here and there. Interesting to see such a quick transition to this mid-game. We did not get the usual Ling-Baneling war that can go on for several minutes, very micro-intensive. So I'm intrigued to see how this goes. Nice little scout there by Violet. Spots the third of Stephano almost immediately. Goes into the corner, hiding beneath that shrubbery. Could go for Banelings, and then maybe attack the mineral line once it gets saturated.
Yeah, that's definitely his plan there. We do have Roach Speed on the way for Stephano as well, and he's building quite a few units here, maybe trying to bust his opponent, as he kind of knows his opponent's gone for this Spire, so we'll have to see how that's going to work out for him. And look at this, Lings aggressively coming down here to actually target down the hatch. Stephano is bringing Banelings in time, so it looks like he should be okay.
Yeah, and there's 1 picked off. There's 3 more coming in, however, and those 2 Banelings in the corner could potentially be a threat. You see Violet trying to buy time, doesn't want a good detonation with those Banelings. Here it comes, and there's the cleanup by Stephano. He gets the better end of that engagement. Nice
cleanup there by Stephano there, who's building 9 roaches, though. Still wants to put aggression on. Can't really let his opponent take an easy third base here. So Stephano's going to try and slow that down. You do not want your opponent, especially going Spire, to have the access to 6 gases, of course, will increase that Mutalisk production, which we're now seeing to come out. 10 are on the way. Stephano is trying to get up there. If he can snipe that third hatchery to slow his opponent down, who only has a handful of units, 2 Banelings to be exact actually here. Stephano has a great opportunity to slow him down.
Yes, he does indeed. Run by coming in from Violet, who wants to do exactly the same thing to his opponent. Already focusing down here is Stephano, and there's the huge run by to absolutely destroy that base. Now, here come the Mutas. The thing about Mutalisk against Roach is it takes an age to actually kill the Roaches off. The DPS is just not high enough. The armor value for Roach and the hit point value is just too high. It does take some time. There's the denial of both bases from either side, and now in an interesting situation where Stephano must defend against the incoming Muta harass.
This is very, very good here for Violet now. With the Mutalist out, he's going to pick off Overlords left and right. Can expand twice, actually. Is Stephano really going to move out when there's Mulas here? No, he's not. He's trying to sit back. He's got spore crawlers everywhere, has an infestation pit down, and more importantly, does not have a third base, does not have creep. How the hell is Stephano meant to take a third base here? And Violet has a commanding lead in map number 1.
Yes, he does. This is the time when Stephano has got to get not so much lucky, but an exceptionally good fungal. Clean those out and then go for the counter push, since he has that edge in the tech.
This is pretty big if he gets this evolution chamber.
Indeed.
Oh my god, and he's going to get it as well. There's no transfuse there, and the evolution chamber will go down, keeping Stephano at only +1 attack there. And there are even Lings on the natural here, picking off a queen, and Stephano is getting ravished, but he is sending out a big counter-attack of Roaches, and Violet will have to return home to defend that.
Yeah, that's a nice Baneling detonation there, and the cleanup coming in from Violet as he gets the surround and guts that natural expansion. But as you can see in the picture-in-picture, we've got this massive Roach push coming in, which is also decimating Violet. It's back and forth, scrappy trading game here.
Yeah, scrappy indeed, but it looks like Stephano, despite having Roaches in the mineral line here, is not going to be able to do enough damage, but there are burrowed Roaches here, so this is very annoying for Stephano, for Violet, who's going to have to morph that Overseer, but he's about to lose the Infestation Pit as well. Things are not going the way for the French player.
No, they really are not. This is a great start for Violet in this series, and Violet with a huge economic lead at this stage. Stephano desperately trying to hold on to his natural hatchery, which is going to happen, but only just. Losing the Infestation Pit, though, puts Stephano in a horrendous position here. He has no way to answer this Mutalisk attack. He's got a couple of Infestors coming out onto the field. Yeah. Probably not enough, though. More Mutas have been added on.
You know, that's all he has. A couple of... I mean, he's down to 21 drones. He has now the new Evolution Chamber up, but he doesn't have any attacking units. He has 3 Queens and 2 Infestors. That's it. You know, that's actually nothing. I mean, sure, if Violet wants to throw the Mulas away, yeah, okay, Stephano will take that, but Stephano can't move across the map.
No, he'll get picked off. Even if it takes a while to kill a Roach, that's a lot of Mutalisks. It will not work out here for Stephano. And there's the fungal, but Violet really smartly only sends in 3, so he loses a single Muta, keeps the vast majority of it alive, and this is the most important resource here for Stephano now. This fungal growth energy, and he has so little of it.
And we already see Violet making the switch over now, getting +1 of his own, getting Roach speed of his own. He's already got Pathogen Glance and Infestors on the way here, and he's got you know, I don't know, let's have a look at the income tab. 1,600 compared to just 1,000.
Yeah.
He has basically double the money of Stephano, who's actually sending out 2 borrowed Infestors, trying some special tactics, and unfortunately for Violet, they actually do leave just before the Overseer moves there.
It'll be interesting to see what he can do with them. He's certainly playing from behind here, but does Violet have enough to land that killing blow? Not yet. Wants to get a large count of Roach and Infestor. That's where the firepower comes in. The DPS does not come from the Mutas. But here comes the sneaky right here from Stephano. Some guerrilla tactics, a little bit of underground warfare.
Yeah, no detections there, no Overseer, no Spore Crawls. They could get onto that third base and do quite a bit of damage to the economy line, but there are 2 defensive Infestors there as well. So we'll have to see how much damage that's done. But right now, let's have a look at the drone count. 81 of 48. Stephano in a world of trouble. Sending in these 2 Infestors. Let's have a look how much damage they can do. Maybe he won't use them immediately. And oh my god, Overseer comes out of nowhere. Gets 1 Infestor.
Yeah, nice and lucky there from Violet, quite frankly. And those Infestors have done precisely nothing now. And well, any kind of comeback that could have come from that has been shut down nice and solidly, and Stephano playing as defensive as he can just to try and hold on here. He is still 1 base behind and has, for the moment, lost that harassment potential.
Yeah. I mean, 2 Lings on that third base actually picked off the drone trying to get there, so it's delayed. And now the Mutalists come in, and they're just looking to do damage. They're not going to be needed later on. He's already made the tech switch over, and he gets damage done and still escapes.
Yeah, really surprising, honestly, that we didn't see more Fungal there just to shut all of that down, but it didn't happen. He was able to pick off an Infestor or two, makes things a bit more awkward. And as we pointed out before, that +2 Roach Infestor will be the sledgehammer that comes down on that natural, and Stephano's going to have to fight incredibly hard to hold on at this stage.
Yeah, it doesn't matter about defensive positions here. Despite spine crawls all over, Stephano's setting up a defensive spine crawler wall, and he'll look to grab the units as they come in. But Mulus are trying to do damage to the third base. The Infestors are there, and he grabs them once again here.
Yep, good grab there by Stephano, but lets them get away once again. Uncharacteristic sloppiness there from Stephano with his Fungals, unfortunately.
And 200 supply now. The bell is ringing for Violet to start to make his move across the map, and he has the bank as well, now increasing for every second that ticks by. And that's such a strong army. Despite the defensive position Stephano has, the Fungals on the ramp, the Spine Crawlers to aid, it doesn't matter when your opponent has double your income with a 4th base now set up as well, as we can see. He's upgrading Burrow, Tunneling Claws, you name it. Violet can afford it.
Yes, he can. And the Mutants go in once again, having not been picked off the first time. Fungal grabs them to infest the Terrans, but this is more of a distraction to use up Fungal energy, so this could come in. Mass Fungal's coming in right now from Stephano as he tries to hold on here. Does he have enough energy to make that work? And even then, can he actually survive the follow-up? Huge numbers of infested Terrans now raining down on the natural of Stephano, and he has no answer to that kind of firepower. As you can see, natural going down here. Stephano trying his best to hold on, but he doesn't have anything to do it with.
Yeah, indeed. And Violet's about to close up the first map here. Remember, guys, this is a best of 3. Violet's going to have a great advantage leading in to the next game there as he picks up that win. And I'm sure he's very happy as he picks up the first map in the winner bracket final.
Indeed, Dr. Violet just before this surgery there on Stephano, and it was rather invasive. We're going to hand on over to Wolf to tell us a little bit more about what went down there.
Well, I really feel that if you ever get ahead in ZVZ, one of the best cases for you is to have a lot of Zerglings and a lot of Mutalisks out. And if you get that, you can basically shut down your opponent's economy time and time again. That's exactly what we saw Violet do. It was a very scrappy game. You know, you said that several times in the cast. And that's what we had. We had both players running in, trying to circumvent each other's armies, trying to go for the harassment rather than fighting each other straight up. And in the end, Stephano was not able to keep up with Violet there. Violet taking an early lead. And then he didn't make mistakes with his Mutalisks. With the Mutalisks, he was able to control his opponent's economy. We saw like 80 to 40 drones. He just had the better economy. Eventually got his Infestor count up and just killed him. I mean, it was a tough game to play for Stephano. When you get behind, your opponent has Mutas out. What can you really do? And
especially if you're able, as the Mutalisk player, to grab a third base and deny your opponent's third, you know, it's actually free sailing. Actually,
it really is. Like the attempt to counteract that was to go with the Infestor harass. Yep. Maybe if you had more Infestors, and of course, the luckiest Overseer ever to exist grabs that, and maybe, just maybe, if he'd shut down the economy with that, we could have seen a reversal in fortune. But no, the Stranglehold was put on, and that, as they say, was that, and a tap out from Stephano. But all to play for as we go into Game 2, which will be on MLG Metropolis.
Yeah, lots of varieties of styles available here. Stephano's never been a Mutalisks player. Never actually has. Not even in Zerg vs. Terran. He can, but he never was. He was actually one